Welcome to the Home Building Hub, your essential podcast guide to building your new home. Hosted by industry experts Colin Bischoff and Darren Brennan, this conversational podcast will help better educate you about all things new home building so you can avoid costly mistakes and enjoy your building experience to the fullest, no matter which home builder you choose.
Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Home Building Hub. You're with Colin and co-host Darren Brennan, as always. And today, Daz, we've got a very interesting episode for everyone. We've got a special guest here. I'd say this episode's it's not only outside of the box, it's actually outside of the country. We've got a special guest coming from Dubai. I'll let him be introduced by you because you know him a little bit better than I do, Darren. But I guess the reason for this episode, guys and girls out there, is that we want to give you an understanding there's a fair bit more going on outside of our own shores. So if you're looking to learn a bit more about investing globally, then this is the episode for you. But if you're really just interested to learn a little bit more about how it works, like I am, then that's what this is all for. So Darren, mate, how are you going today, buddy? We're looking forward to this.
Oh, mate, yeah. Day at work and recording at night, which is a bit the opposite to us. We're normally early risers, Cole, and recording pretty early. So it's good to do something a bit different. And obviously, we've got a pretty cool special guest on board. Funny enough, we were just saying before, we all at one stage crossed paths working at Simmons, and we're all, none of us there anymore, but we're all doing our own thing. And John Gilroy, who I met when he was in Bendigo many, many years ago, and then sort of stayed in contact as he moved a bit around Australia, and now he's in Dubai selling off the plan homes, I guess, and townhomes and apartments, etc., is living a pretty cool journey over there, and it's something very different. So it's been great to reconnect with John while he's over there. And, we were chatting a couple of weeks ago. I shot John a message and sort of led to this conversation tonight. And, really excited to hear a bit more. And, mate, it sounds like it's going well over there, John. So, mate, welcome to the podcast and wrapped to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. So, as you said, we all worked at Simmons at one stage. I was with Simmons for about 7 years in Victoria, and then moved on to JG King for about 10 years. Then moved up to the Gold Coast and was doing knockdown rebuild up there, and then moved into sort of luxury off plan on the Gold Coast beachfront. And then made a journey over to Dubai last year, so to follow the market over here. Reason moved over, my partner was quite unwell with stage 4 bone cancer, so we decided to move closer to Germany, and I looked at the option of Dubai and did a bit of research and history, sort of search on it, and looked at the market and saw it was a really vibrant, fast-paced market with huge growth, and bit the bullets and decided to move over here, and loving it ever since I've come over. So, it's been a bit of a journey.
I'm sure just from a lifestyle point of view, when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, it had been ridiculously hot. And forgive me if I got it wrong, but I'm sure you said it might have nudged towards the 60s, and that's just a number I can't imagine. So the lifestyle, certainly this time of year, it's summer over there, pretty warm. How are you coping with all that over there, mate?
Yeah, air conditioning is fantastic, obviously, air conditioning everywhere. But it is extremely hot here at the moment. I don't think we've had a day under 40, since, at least June, July. And we have had some 47s and 52s and some days that feel like 60 with the humidity. So a lot of people get out of here during this time of the year. They go back to Europe. It's where they have the main school holidays for that sort of 8 weeks. So people, take off. So it's a bit quieter here at the moment, but still a lot of people looking to invest. So the market is still busy. Lots of projects being launched. You can have a project launched every day, and they can sell out within an hour. That's how crazy it is. So, it's still very busy, and it'll ramp up again soon in September.
Yeah, great. Well, we'll just jet some questions at you throughout this episode there, John. So first one, I guess, for people who are completely new to this, tell us why people are moving to Dubai. Like, what's the appeal over there?
Yeah, look, the main reason, well, a lot of reasons, I suppose, but the main reason is it's really safe and secure. So a lot of people want to come and live here because they want their children to be brought up here, and in a really safe environment. So you can go to a bar or into a shopping mall and put your phone on the table, come back half an hour later and it'll still be there. It's just left. That's where you'd reserve your sort of table. Great healthcare, great education, zero tax. So there's zero tax that you pay on your income. Businesses, they brought in the 1st of June last year, it was a 9% business tax. Booming real estate industry and finance, technology, healthcare, education, as I said, robotics. So it's really thriving sort of over here. Hospitality is huge. So they have the best restaurants, beach clubs. There's 19 Michelin-starred restaurants here now. And it's a real tourist hub for Europeans to come here. And we're pretty much, I think, about a 7-hour flight from about 60% of the population from Dubai. So a lot of people move here because it's a crypto capital of the world. You can buy property through crypto. There's no tax on crypto. Very easy to obviously buy property through all means. And it's very easy to get visas here now. So you can get anywhere from a 2-year to a 10-year visa, which is linked to purchasing property, as well as retirement visas and visas for people that want to start up businesses or if they're entrepreneurs. So they're really encouraging people to move here to Dubai to live. They want to make it the most livable and workable city in the world. And they're putting everything in place to do that. So that's why a lot of people are moving here.
How, obviously, a lot of people are investing there as well. Are there key triggers to why people are investing? Is it the return on their investment? Is the ease of transaction? What sort of stuff like that would be the main reasons why people are investing there? Was it getting money out of other countries? How are you seeing that?
Yeah, look, people are wanting to take their money out of their own country. So a lot of Europeans are doing that, wanting to have their money over here. Really good ROI. So you're getting anywhere from average from about 7 to 9% return. Really good capital appreciation that you're getting throughout the year as well. I can mention some sort of numbers to you later, where there's been some apartments and some townhouses that have increased 40 to 77% just this year alone in the first half of the year. There's no agency fees to purchase. It's a really easy purchase process, so you can purchase from overseas. You don't have to be in the country. And you can also flip properties through the construction process, so you don't have to wait till it's completed to flip. Different developers might have, once you've paid 30% or 40% or 50% of that under construction, you can actually flip it. And obviously the reason people are obviously wanting to invest here is because they can purchase with crypto. They can gain visas, obviously, to come and live here. So they want to leave their country, so they buy property and obviously come over. And there's a huge demand for rental properties here in Dubai. So that's the main reason why a lot of people are investing here.
Wow. That sounds impressive, really, Colin.
It does,
sure,
yeah. I'm just racking my brain. I can hear my accountant yelling at me already. I'm just thinking. So that's definitely going through my head at the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, interesting. Obviously there's so much appeal. I've been to Dubai once upon a time. It was 2015, and I've since seen a couple of mates go over and seen a lot of photos. And when I was there, it was still all that parts they're taking photos of was empty, and now it's full of build. It's the fastest moving thing that I can sort of visualize. It's crazy how quick it goes. And so with all those perks you said now, what do you think is going to happen? We understand there's a bit of a battle plan that Dubai has in place for 2033 and 2040 and those sort of key dates. What can you shed a bit of light on what's to come?
Yeah, so the first sort of plan that they put in place, which was the 33 plan, which is they want to increase foreign trade by 26 trillion in that period of time. They want to increase foreign direct investment by 650 billion, and they want to increase expenditure AED 700 billion a year. So they're really wanting to actually really get the economy really up and running. But part of the Dubai main 2040 plan is they want to double the population by 2040. Currently we've got 3.7 million. They want to increase that to 7.8 million, which is huge when you think of those numbers. But to take those numbers, as I said, we've probably had about 100,000 move over here in the first half of this year alone. So there's really huge growth. They're also sectioning the city into 5 different logistics sort of centres. So they'll have Deira and Bur Dubai, which is the original area of Dubai, which is the historical area that they're looking at. Then you've got the financial area, which is DIFC, and Business Bay and Downtown, which is where all of the sort of companies are. So if you look at numbers in companies or registered companies, there was 2,500 that were registered just in DIFC alone in 2020. And in 2023, there was 5,500. So that's just one area where there's a free zone where companies can set up. Then they've got the tourism area, which is the Palm Jumeirah, Marina, and JBR. And then they've got Exhibition and Event Centre, which will be Dubai South, where they're building the new Al Muktam Airport, which they're putting another $128 billion into it, where they're going to have a capacity of 160 million people a year, which will be able to come through there. And that eventually will have 1 million population in that area as well. And then you've got the Knowledge and Innovation Centre, which is Silicon Oasis. So they've sort of set up 5 strategic sort of areas throughout Dubai. And obviously, along with that population growth, they realise it's going to start, affecting the environment. And what they're looking to do to counter that is they're actually building an artificial reef out at sea, which is going to be 200 square kilometres, which is going to be the largest in the world. And they're actually regenerating the coastline by planting 1 million mangrove trees over 72 kilometres. So they really look at what's happening to the environment and want to do forward planning with that. They've also brought in a new blue visa, which is for anyone that makes a significant contribution towards the environment. So they want the best of the best people coming over here to do, eco-friendly developments and eco-friendly products that are in the new developments that they're going to do. So it's, you just don't hear of that in sort of other countries, people doing things like that, and to make a net zero emissions by 2050. So they're putting all this into place. Transforming, 60% more nature reserves, as I said, diverse housing with eco-friendly designs and materials. So they create these micro communities out in the desert where you might have, say, 7,000 villas, which will have free-flowing water, crystal lagoons going past your actual villa, which is just flowing water with their own beaches. They'll have their own shopping centres, their own hospitals, they'll have their own schools. So everything's in there that you don't actually need to leave your community on the weekend. And it's just incredible what they actually do. The old expo site, the old 2020 expo site, that's actually being converted into a housing estate. So they've taken all the infrastructure that was already there. They've got the largest expo centre in the UAE, and they've already got the metro there. All the cars come in underground in this whole community, and it's basically got electric scooters, electric bikes, which are all free for all of the residents to use, as well as 24-hour golf buggies that drive you around the community with kinetic footpaths. So as you walk around the footpaths in the actual community, it keeps all the lights, solar powers the lights at night as well through that. So it just blows your mind when you actually see what they're actually doing here in the community. So it's very, very forward-thinking, very forward-thinking.
And it sounds like they're not afraid to spend the money up front to, ensure that they're getting that stuff right. We so often see it where the infrastructure so often trails, the population growth or the business growth in an area. So you have traffic congestion, all that other stuff. And it takes a long time before that's actually sorted. Sounds like in Dubai, they're doing the work up front and paying it forward, which sounds great.
And I think, as you said, Darren, they realise there's going to be a lot of people moving here, and that's going to be the issue, is the infrastructure. So wherever you drive around Dubai, there's just constantly new roads and highways being built. So when they put these communities out in these areas, they've looked at where the roads are going to be, and they've got the room to extend the roads. Look, I know when I was in Bali recently, I stopped over before I came back here, and I know there's a lot of properties being sold in Bali with a lot of high returns, but when I was driving around, there was only single lane roads. There's actually nowhere for them to actually increase those roads at all. So the traffic is so congested. Where here, I suppose we've got so much space, they just build these highways and new overpasses all the time. It's just unbelievable what they're doing. So yeah, very, very forward thinking, but I think it's also very strategic planning on the way they actually are laying out the city.
That's great.
It's what a 25-year-old city.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Next level. Yeah, it sounds fantastic. I'm looking forward to coming over and visiting you at some stage, John, just to check the joint out, mate. What do you do for customers then? So from a service point of view, what's your job there? You're working for a company called Haus Haus.
Correct, yep.
What's your actual role there, mate?
Yeah, so I work in the off-plan team, so as an investment consultant. So mainly it's people either locally or people from all nationalities around the world who are looking to invest in Dubai. So pretty much I would have a just a conversation with them, find out what their wants and needs are. Do they know much about the property market here? Explain to them what's happening. And then pretty much I'd work out what they're looking to spend. What's the reason for their purchase? Is it going to be an end user, or is it just a straight investor for ROI? And then I'll sit down with our team. We've got people here that have been here for 20 years, 18 years. So we always sit down as a group. We work out what's the best investments for our investors. Now there's a huge amount of investors here, but you want to obviously give a really reputable builder. It's going to finish on time, good quality, and in the right location, the right community, and be well maintained by that developer. And then I'd sit down with you and work out payment plans, what type of money you've got access to, how do you want to pay for it, and then just give you some options on looking at buying property and investing here. So it's pretty much just a general conversation, and then I'll just help assist you with helping to build your portfolio. And I want to work with people for the next 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 years, which I sort of did back in Victoria. People would come back to you after a few years and they want to add another investment property to their portfolio. So just doing the same thing as that.
That's great.
Are there a lot of people from Australia sort of you're working with? Like, is that make up a good percentage, or?
Yeah, look, there's a few. We tend to do a lot more with Europeans. The biggest number of investors this year were actually German so far. Then it was UAE, then India, then Canada, then back to Pakistan, then France and Italy were in the top sort of 10. So a lot of Germans investing here because out at Expo City, Siemens have moved their head office over here. Wollongong University setting up out at Expo City. So there's a lot of international businesses moving over here. So look, it can be anyone and everywhere in the world. There could be some wars on. Lots of people invested here from Russia and Ukraine. They moved over here. They just wanted to be in a safe place. And Dubai is known as pretty much the Switzerland of, the UAE. They don't get involved with things. They keep things pretty, quiet. They just want to make it easy for people to come and live here and enjoy themselves and in safety. So that's what we're finding with people here investing.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I guess the exit strategy. What? How do you help people with that part?
Yeah, look, I think with any investment that someone's looking to invest, a lot of people don't look at it an exit strategy, and that's something I will talk to them about. Like, if I'm going to recommend an investment to someone, you want to be, as I said, with a reputable builder. It's going to finish on time, be in a good community that's well maintained, but also not have an oversupply. So if that investor needs to access their money in a hurry to sell for some reason, like whether it's during construction or once it's been completed, that it's a property that another investor would be happy to buy, possibly with a premium still on top, because that person has some capital appreciation as it's got built. They'll still buy it at a higher price than what was originally listed. But then also maybe an end user might want to actually buy it. So what we do find here with some of the big developers like EMA, 80% of their buyers are investors, but they're very sort of cash heavy through construction. So they have an 80% through construction, 20% on completion. So it's more for that sort of cash buyer who's access to those funds, and they tend to flip the properties near handover, put a premium on it and sell it to that mortgage buyer. So I'm always sort of talking to people like, what's the reason for your purchase? Are you looking to, make some money in a short period of time? I'm not saying that's going to happen everywhere, because you don't know what's going to happen in the next year or two with the market. But with the population growing and the amount of people wanting to live here, I think there will be some growth definitely moving forward. That's for sure. So I think it's important to us, discuss what are their wants and needs and timeframes. And if they ever need to access the money, as I said, in a hurry, they can get it out quickly.
I guess like anything, no one's got a crystal ball, but what you can do is look at what history says and use that as a good barometer and where the market's at. And it certainly sounds like it's, a great place to be looking at investing your money right now, which is fantastic. What are some of the lessons that we could be taking back here in Oz that they're doing really well in Dubai, that might be, just broadly in the market, or even just, if someone's, some of your investors, what are they doing well? Is there some takeaways that our listeners here might go, hey, I could implement a couple of those things, or be interested maybe when they're looking at property here, some of those sort of strategies that are in place there. What are your thoughts there, John?
Yeah, they've got some really good apps and some really good websites like Property Monitor, where you can actually go in and look at maybe what that apartment was originally bought for off plan and what it's been sold for, and really monitor what's happening in the market. And you can really see what capital appreciation has maybe had in those areas. Another app that they've also got is a REST app. So you can log in and look at any development that's under construction, see where it's at under construction. So you know live that day that it's at 30% or 40% or 60%. So you can be overseas and monitoring how your build's actually going, which I think is quite good. I think it's just the way they design their communities as well. So when they design the communities up front, there'll be a plan for a school, shopping centres, the roads coming in, all that infrastructure. The metros are going to be coming through to that area. So I think there's a lot of forward planning. And they put that into place. Whereas, sometimes I've noticed like in Australia, like you'd go down to like Micklin and those areas, you'd see this old farmland, all of a sudden an estate pops up, then another one pops up, and then the roads aren't necessarily wide enough for all the people travelling, down to say to Melbourne, to the CBD, or there's not that infrastructure, say for, traffic, like for trains and that already going to those areas. So here they sort of have that forward planning in place, and stop people from maybe having to go into the city or the community. So they want to make it a 20-minute city is their idea, so that 80% of everything that you need is within a 20-minute drive.
That's John. I say everything's 10 minutes away, mate.
Certainly not.
You think for a big city, yeah, exactly.
Mate, yeah. Incredible. And it's interesting you say that about developments. I know there's a development in the north, and they say it takes half an hour to get out of the joint. You'd be going crazy, and so to hear that forward thinking, and I put that back on the developer going, why build so many, new land blocks and then allow so many houses to be built without the major infrastructure being upgraded? I know they've got to pay for that, but surely that should be part of the process, I guess, to make sure that, it's comfortable. Imagine sitting within just the estate. You might be, 500, a kilometre from the exit, and it's taking you half an hour to get out. That's why I live in the country now, mate, because I got sick of that sort of stuff, I guess. But
I know. And that's the thing here. Like, you can travel down to the beach, you can go mountain biking, like, there's all these different things that you can actually do here. They've got huge indoor ski worlds. Like, they build the biggest and best of everything. They want to have the best of everything. But, you're living in a desert and you can go, skiing on the weekend on some of the largest indoor slopes. It's ridiculous, what you can do.
I know one bit that caught my eye was you were sitting in a chair saying, how good, and that's when I picked up the phone, I'm like, I've got to talk to John. This just sounds incredible. You're like, how good would it be looking out over your back fence at gazelles? And I'm like, that's ridiculous. That is crazy. Yeah. Gazelles. Who's got gazelles running around?
I know. The Expo City, they're actually villa community where there's 500 villas. They've got free-flowing rivers that run through the community, and they've got a wadi down the bottom where the main villas are going to be looking over it, but everyone can walk down to it, and they're going to have gazelles in there. And as I drive to work each day, I go past Russell Khaimah. It's a wildlife sanctuary, and there's actually flamingos in there. I drive past it every day. Like, it's quite crazy. But,
like Vegas on, but a bit not as sleazy.
No. But I sort of had some figures for you for this sort of year to give you a bit of an example if people are looking to invest here. But as I said to you, there was 84,000 people that actually moved here from the 1st of January to the 30th of June this year. And with the transactions that were taking place, there were 77,000 transactions in that first half of the year, which was $227 billion, which was actually spent, which was a 31% increase on last year. And 81% of those were apartments and 10.9% were townhouses and only 7% were villas. So what we're finding here at the moment is there's a huge demand for villas and townhouses. They're predominantly always sort of built a lot of high-rises, but because we're finding a lot more people wanting to come and live here and reside here, there's huge capital appreciation in some of these villas. I had a client that had requested one the other day, and I got a price on it. Now, this estate is just about to be completed. They were launched it 3 years ago. Some people have already moved into the townhouses, but every single one in that estate in 3 years has had 100% capital appreciation. And this one villa, which I got for a client, was 10 million was the original purchase price, about 4 million Australian. They're now selling it at 20 million. So it's actually, they've made 4 million. So they've doubled their money in 3 years' time. And so these villa communities are just, they're gold at the moment. If you've got investors who want to, park some of their super money or whatever into it, they'll get a lot of capital appreciation on villas,
And then they've got that, as you say, when you purchase there, you get a visa assigned to the property. So you've got this ability to be able to travel there in and out to suit your needs.
Yeah.
I think you were telling me about one or a couple of customers who have bought one for themselves, for their own use, and one for investment. And, they can potentially sell the one that was for investment either just before or just after completion, and use that as funds to pay off the one that they bought for themselves. And they're just in such a financially strong position. So, which is superb. So.
And as I said about the visas, so if you spend, it's a 750,000 dirham, I think it's about 300,000 Australian, you get a 2-year visa, which is linked to the property. And if you buy a 2 million dirham, which is about 800,000 Australian, you get a 10-year golden visa. So you can come and live in the country for 10 years. And as long as you own that property, you just renew it every 10 years. Same with the 2-year one. So a lot of people are buying property because they want to come and live here, through winter. So during Europe, while it's snowing and it's freezing cold, they come over here, and it's sort of like mid to late 20s, sort of getting you sort of 16 in the morning to 20 in the morning, which is nice. So they come and live half the year here, and then they go back to Europe maybe in the summer. So people are sort of doing that dual sort of living. Australia had the largest amount of millionaires invest or move to Australia last year. We were second, and they're saying we'll be first this year with over 6,000 moving here. So, and that's a lot of millionaires moving here, but they've made their money. They're not coming here to make money because it's tax free. People move here for the lifestyle. They actually like the lifestyle here because you've got everything that you can do here. It's a tourist capital. I think it was 9.3 million people came to Dubai in the first half of this year. So there's a lot of people coming here for tourism.
Next year might be 9.3 plus one extra.
Plus one extra. Come over and show you
Maybe
around.
Cole will do a tour of that for the.
Don't come in summer. Don't come in summer.
No, we'd die.
Yeah.
I built like me in summer over there, man. I'd come back skinny at least. That'd be good.
Yeah, you sort it out as you can get outside. But no, it's really encouraging for people to get visas, and because it is hard with some countries to get visas. So and it's about a 2 week to 4 week process to come over here. You need to do all your blood tests and your X-rays and stuff like that. So they check for, I think they check for HIV. I think they check for tuberculosis and all those type of things, and to make sure they want people obviously coming in that are fit and healthy. And but a lot of people are moving here just for the lifestyle. That's for sure.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
We had a bit of an issue there, and no one would know because you and I have just continued the conversation seamlessly here, John. It's been going a treat, but Colin dropped out, but he's back.
The power just went completely out. The whole thing shut down.
I thought he left.
I love that. Well, it was seamless, Colin. You wouldn't even know, mate. And that's the fantastic part about this is it's we've just rolled on, mate. So it's been great. But
let's hope it's still recording.
Yep.
It says it is.
Can you just repeat the last 30 minutes for us, John? Thank you. Yeah. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Let's hope it all went all right. Yep.
Worst case scenario is we come back and do it all again. And so I'm enjoying learning about this, mate. It's fantastic. It's a really interesting topic for us, and something different to what we normally talk about. And so I'm really enjoying what you presented so far, John. What other services do Haus Haus actually offer?
Yep.
So, obviously, they're a big organisation with a big number of employees, and obviously one of the absolute key real estate agents. I guess that's the right term for it. I'm assuming you're labelling yourselves real estate agents over there, but one of the key real estate agents in Dubai. What do they offer as other services?
Yeah, so we do resale. So we cover all the areas and suburbs of Dubai. We do off-plan, which we cover any project that's for sale in Dubai, or Russell Khaimah, where they're building the new Wynn Casino, which has been huge. Abu Dhabi, we can sell in London, we can sell wherever. So we do off-plan, we do resale. We also do leasing. So we have a huge leasing team. We do holiday let. We also do property management. And we also have our own maintenance company. So when someone buys a property off us, we're not just going to sell it to you. We can look after it once it's been handed over to you. So we can go in there, we can help you get it furnished, we can help you get it leased out, or if you need to sell it, we can help with all of that. So we've got about over 400 staff. We've got 3 offices. We've just opened another one today, another 16,000 square foot office. So they're just continually growing. 3 English guys that started the company 11 years ago, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And what I like about it is just a really good culture. The environment here has been absolutely fantastic. The people that you get to meet, like I'm working with people from Russia, Uzbekistan, Canada, there's France, Italy, Germany, like you name the different nationalities, we've got them all here. And it's just sort of a good environment to be in. I know we're in Australia, we do get a lot of nationalities there, but here it's just, people that you don't normally get to sort of mix with. But yeah, the company is really, really good to work for. Really good company. So we can help you with anything and everything.
Sounds like you're very much a one-stop shop, and you guys are there to really hold the customer's hand through their entire journey, not just the purchase, but the after service, the whole way through, and even the exit strategy. It just sounds fantastic. So it's great.
And we can help bring your funds into the country too. We've got some really good partners which can actually bring your funds into the country. And if you're looking at buying with crypto or anything like that, it's an easy process where pretty much I can go down to the exchange. You just transfer the money. I can sit there. They can give me a manager's check, like a bank check the next day, and I can just take your funds down to the developer's office and make the payments on your behalf. It's that easy. Like we've had, investors from Australia, last year that have spent, over 160 million just on property, and it's all through crypto.
Yeah, wow.
So there's a lot of
space again, isn't it? Like it's just different world again. It's good.
No tax on crypto here.
Yeah.
No
it's
tax.
Funny you mentioned that. I saw just a post online about half an hour ago here we've had a guy on our podcast before from Property Insights Australia, a great guy, Atul Sharma, and I saw one of his people saying, should I invest in crypto or should I be buying another property? And it's sort of interesting because people are looking at different ways to invest their money, and he didn't have enough probably for another property, but he could be able to, depending on how the crypto goes, he might be buying a property in Dubai very soon if that's the case. So it's really cool. Yeah. Really cool.
Should we perhaps dive into, if it's okay, John, some of those numbers? Like I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, so if this is something I'm thinking about, like where's the entry? I suppose if I'm over here in Australia wanting to potentially look at investing in Dubai, how does it work? Where's the entry? What do I expect?
Yep. So normally you'd start with a studio apartment. Is what people sort of tend to sort of invest in here if they're wanting something, to get into the market. You're probably looking at around about 270 to 300,000 Australian as a starting point. With those, you're probably going to be getting a good 8% return, sort of net on those returns. Capital appreciation in some of the areas that we send a lot of investors into. JVC has been pretty good. I think this year in the first half they had a 16 to 70% increase in pricing. Great rental area. It has all the amenities and everything in there. A lot of people, and it depends. So you really need to spend about 750,000 dirham. So what would that be in Australian dollars? So about 320,000 Australian to get a 2-year visa. And then you've got the 2 million dirham, which gives you the 10-year visa, which is about 850 Australian, which will give you a 10-year visa. So starting point, I'd say work on that sort of just under the 300,000 mark, up to whatever you want to spend. We've got $100 million apartments and villas. It really just depends. Like there's so many branded residents and stuff. So that would be your starting point. How it works here is a little bit different to Australia, where Australia you tend to do 10% upfront and then maybe 90% on completion. Here they work a bit differently. So every developer has a different payment plan, where it could be 40% up front, 60% on completion, 50-50, 80-20. It just really depends on what that developer's actually offering. And some will even have a 5-year post-completion payment plan. So Expo City, which I've mentioned a few times, they do a 50-50. So 50% through construction, then they do 50% after handover split over 5 years. So you just pay 10% per year. That's where I'd sort of sit down with you, see what funds you've got, what access you have to funds, and work out what's the best payment plan for you. I normally say to people how it works is if you're looking to buy something, you need to have usually a 20% deposit to obviously book it. And then there's always a 4% DLD, which goes to the Dubai Land Department, which is almost like your stamp duty. So any transaction, whether it's off-plan or secondary or you resell, there's always the purchaser has to pay 4%. So normally 24% up front, and then usually you'd need another 10% either in the next 3 months or 6 months. So I say to people, at least if you've got access to 34%, I can then start going and looking for some options for you.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
And it's quite protected too. So people go, how's my money protected over here, John? Well, you get, once you've signed your SPA, which is sales purchase agreement, like your contract, they'll apply, the company that you've obviously purchased off will apply for an ACUD. An ACUD is a pre-title deed to show that you're actually in the process of purchasing that property. So you get a pre-title deed. Then once the property is completed, you then get the title deed. So it's just like you would in Australia, you know. And then basically what happens is the developers can't open or sell properties unless they have an escrow account, which is a third-party account which is held by the Dubai Land Department. So all your money goes into that account and the developer can take his money out at certain stages. So your money's protected. Because I've had a few people going, look, John, I bought and went to go buy in Bali and I got burnt, 100,000. And I say, look, it's really regulated here. So look, a lot of people are very skeptical about investing here, but it's very regulated and it's very safe. They couldn't do anything wrong if there's over 85% of the population is expats that live here. They're doing the right things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I ask another one that's not on our list there, Daz? More the implications tax-wise, and not saying we're giving financial advice and all that sort of stuff, but it's a question no doubt you get all the time in relation to it. Like, okay, so I've got the money for that, and then we're going to find a studio, and how does that work in terms of getting that paid for and then getting a tenant in there and getting that money back through rent? Like, what implications does that sort of have?
Yeah, so very easy process of purchasing. You just obviously go through the normal process of, put your deposit down and you pay your payments through and then settle on completion. We can then obviously help you with tenanting it out. How it normally tends to work here in Dubai is they usually tend to pay the rent a year in advance. So you'd usually get a check for that whole year, or that tenant might say, can I write you out 3 checks and date them for each quarter? And then you can bank it each quarter.
Yeah.
It just depends how you want to structurally do it. If you want to do it holiday let, you might just rent it out by the month, which a lot of people tend to rent here by the month because they move to Dubai. They don't want to, commit to a year. They might want to stay in that place for 6 months. They end up might stay in for a year. You get a bit of a higher return on it. There's no capital gains tax on any properties if you sell it here. So, and there's no tax on rental tax either. So all the money that you get is your money. Obviously, if you're then taking that money back to Australia, there could be tax purposes there that you need to look into.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it pretty much works here. So if you sell the property, obviously that money's there for you. There's no capital gains tax on it.
Yeah.
Do you suggest, John, someone's looking to buy, we get one of our listeners, and hopefully many of our listeners might go, gee, I want to know a bit more here. Would you suggest they come over and have a look so they get a real idea of what they're getting into?
Yeah, I would. I look, I suppose everyone wants to do their own due diligence. Some people maybe have been here on a holiday so they don't need to. But if you haven't been to Dubai, I would definitely say come over for a holiday and get to see what it's like. Because when I came over, I thought it's maybe the city in the desert. And then you get here and you just go, wow, it's a huge city and it's just so happening. I think you've got to experience it for yourself. And I can take you to some of these developers' offices, which are just incredible. So I have really good contacts with all the developers' offices. So I'd be like, I'd have, say you, Darren, for example, who works with, your company. I have an affiliation with you. I'll come out and say, look, I'm bringing Colin out today. Colin's possibly looking at spending X, and then they'll go through and explain why you should invest in that particular company. And they'll say, well, look, we normally release at this stage, this price, the next stage is this. So they have all their business models in place for investors. So you go, yep, this suits me. I'm ready to go. But I definitely suggest come over here for a holiday at least.
Yeah, fantastic.
And see if you like it. And then you might want to come over here for like 2-3 months of the year and actually then live here,
Yep.
And use the property.
Wouldn't be all bad, Col, I reckon.
You get a pretty good insight, I'd say, after a couple of months. It'd be good.
And loads of branded residences they're doing now, like, Dorchester, and you name the brand, So Dorchester's doing the first beachfront residences with a hotel next to it. So you'll be in these sort of 5-star residences where you can go walk right next door and you've got a hotel or you've got Michelin-starred restaurants. So, there's just so many, Kapinski, Rove. It depends on your budget. Like, we've got ones that start from under $1 million, which can go up to, $100 million. It just depends on what you particularly want. And then with the branded residences, they've got really good amenities, facilities. So when you come over, it's like you're staying in a hotel yourself, but it's your own property that you're just renting out. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds absolutely amazing, mate.
But yeah, if someone's interested in talking, it just matter of just getting in contact with me and we'll just have that conversation and just take it from there.
Yeah. We'll make sure we leave the email at the bottom of the episode.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Very insightful. Such an interesting topic to hear from outside the shores, Daz, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just, it certainly caught my eye, one, watching what you're up to online, John, and obviously Dave as well, and just seeing the space you guys are playing in, and then just seeing a bit of, I think you're down somewhere near the beach, and I don't know the name of the building we were talking about last week, but the iconic building on the beach, and it's like it's just there, And
the silly thing is, I go surfing here. It's like I'm sitting in the surf, looking at the Burj Al Arab with the Burj Khalifa in the background. It's, you sort of pinch yourself going, I'm in the middle of a desert surfing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. So it is. It's some amazing buildings here. Some amazing architecture. When you drive around the city at night, the city just comes alive. And it's amazing. It really is. Yeah. So.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Well, I think this episode for our listeners is going to be a pretty amazing one for them to have a listen to as well. And I think I'm sure there'll be a few of them thinking, I've got to ring this John Gilroy guy and find out a little bit more. And we hope that's the case, mate. And it's been fantastic to catch up, mate. It's good to get an old acquaintance from our Simmons days to on the line, mate, and hear what fun you're having over there, mate. And we wish you absolutely all the very best over there, mate. And hope hope it's an absolute winner. So yeah, mate, fantastic.
Yeah, well, I appreciate both of your time for having me on, guys, and look forward to helping some Australian investors maybe invest over here.
Indeed.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and seeing you both over here.
Thank you.
I think we might have to have an end of season trip or something, Colin.
Yeah, sounds good.
End of series trip.
Yeah, why not? There's nothing wrong with that, Darren. We could broadcast from Dubai.
And I'm pretty active on like LinkedIn and my socials and stuff like that, and putting up reports and what's happening in the market. So people can always follow me on there, as you said, and I'm sort of giving some information on what's happening in the market, on a weekly and monthly basis.
Yeah,
that's great, mate. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. It's again a bit different for us recording at night to try and align with your daytime and get everything to work. But we really appreciate your time, mate. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, John. Appreciate it. And there you go, folks. Such an interesting insight. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you like what you're hearing, then please jump on, give us a 5-star review on the platform you're on. If you want to leave some feedback, topic ideas, etc., jump onto the website. That is homebuildinghub.com.au. Click on Contact Us. And probably most importantly out of this one, if you want to contact John, we will drop his email at the bottom of this episode. Also available will be his details on the website as well. Okay, so we'll leave that there for you. And other than that, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Home Building Hub. As part of the podcast, we have to be a little careful to cover ourselves on a legal standpoint. So we do have a disclaimer. Whilst we're all about providing value to you, this podcast should not be considered legal or financial advice. It does contain general information only, and you should seek out independent professional advice on your own personal situation before you make any legal or financial decisions.
1,